And as they do every year, the royal family were well and truly out and about in the lead up to Easter, including giving Maundy money on Easter Thursday. Now, this year, the King's Easter message spoke about faith, hope and love. And the King wrote, "One of the puzzles of our humanity is how we are capable of both great cruelty and great kindness. This paradox of human life runs through the Easter story and in the scenes that daily come before our eyes." And he added, "There are three virtues that the world still needs: faith, hope and love. And the greatest of these is love." Joining me now is the Royal Editor for the Daily Mirror, Russell Myers. Russell, what were the most notable moments for you of the Royal Easter this year?
Well, hi, Caroline. Well, it's been a busy period, of course. You know, the King is a very important time for him, not only personally, but of course as the monarch as well. Easter time, we saw him up in Durham Cathedral handing out that Maundy money. It goes right the way back to about the 15th century, and you have the monarch of the day, of course, King Charles, now handing out specially minted coins to local heroes, people who have not only tuned to the Christian faith, but really done some great things in their community. So it's in place of or in sort of tribute of his birthday of the year. So of course he's 76. There was 76 men, 76 women getting these special commemorations. Very, very important for the King, of course, on Maundy Thursday. We're going to see the royal family out in force on Easter Sunday as well, Windsor Castle. But the family we won't be seeing are the Prince and Princess of Wales and their three children. They've decided to sort of have a bit of a longer Easter holiday at their home in Norfolk. And I think that's fair enough. They've been through an awful lot as a family. William did check in with the King ahead of time about whether this would be okay. Of course, he's given it his blessing. And very much, his message, as you said, was about faith, love and hope, and I think they've needed that in abundance. Of course, the King and the Princess of Wales both going through their cancer battles over the last year and a half. So very, very much that lovely message incorporating what the family are about.
And Russell, I think the break comes at a good time for the family. We know that the King had a very short stay in hospital a few weeks back. He has travelled a lot. Will they also be taking a little bit of time to take it easy for a few days?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, this is a time of you kicking up your heels and trying to get away from work for a few days, isn't it? And I think the King is very much of that motion as well, because it has been a busy period. I was just in Italy with him just a couple of weeks ago, and that was a full-on schedule. Even though they'd taken out the Vatican part of the state visit, it was still very, very full-on. And I think we forget, Camilla is 77, he's 76, and they're still carrying on a very, very busy schedule indeed. So I don't think there's any terms of letting up for the King, but certainly I think it'll be a chance to get the family together, have a bit of rest and recuperation over the holidays.
Now, Russell, we've spoken several times on this show about the upcoming visit between the King and US President Donald Trump. What's the update?
Well, it's really interesting. There's a story this week in the UK Telegraph about that it's being underlined between the two teams. There's certainly discussions are carrying on at pace. And then Trump was in the White House and he gave chapter and verse on it. He said the two teams are working on the Palace and the White House. Of course, the foreign offices will be involved as well. And he said it's going to be likely for September. What we don't know yet, which is a bit of a grey area, is whether this is going to be a full pomp and pageantry state visit. My understanding was that it wasn't going to be. It was sort of an invitation for Trump to go over, sort of a precursor to a potential state visit next year. But Trump seems to have got carried away, as he normally does. And he's saying, it's going to be a great fest. It's going to have all the pomp and pageantry. It's unprecedented, as of course it is for a president to have a second state visit. So whether we see the full shebang for him in September remains to be seen, but it looks like he will be coming across these shores in the not too distant future.
Oh, there'll be plenty more to talk about in the lead up to that, I'm sure. Now, back in 1984, King Charles made a speech known as the Monstrous Carbuncle speech about the state of British architecture. Here it is.
I would understand better this type of high-tech approach if you demolished the whole of Trafalgar Square and started again, with a single architect responsible for the entire layout. But what is proposed seems to me like a monstrous carbuncle on the face of a much-loved and elegant friend.
And a great hat tip to the King by Clive Aslett this week in the UK Telegraph ahead of the release of his new book on the 1st of May. Now, Russell, we know the King loves architecture, but how much influence has he had over recent years?
Well, it's interesting looking back on those speeches because I often think about his speeches that he made about climate change and how he was ridiculed at the time. And this was pretty punchy. He was just talking about British architecture had not been, attuned to the values of old. And he's really had that within his heart, I think. You look at the estate of Poundbury in England, how he was really a forward thinker in that and trying to get people to think about architecture, appreciate their towns and cities once again. And what he's done at Dumfries House as well is really tune into traditional crafts. And he's had a lot of money put in to Dumfries House, saving those traditional crafts, educating the new batch of traditional craft makers. And that's been really, really important for our culture. And that's what he wants to try and preserve the heritage of not only architecture, but of spirit as well. And certainly, I think many people are benefiting of that.
I'm a massive nerd and I just think it is such a good point of advocacy. I think he has done a fabulous job in that regard. Now, it's been reported this week that Meghan has sent apparently a peace offering to the King in the form of her As Ever products. Is that right?
Well, I saw this story, and to be honest, I can't quite believe it. I haven't been able to verify it myself, and I think that'd be extraordinary because look at the relations of the two families. I mean, it's not got any better in recent months. I think the heat has been taken out of the relations because of obviously Harry and Meghan had the propensity to be going on TV shows, talking to Oprah Winfrey, of course, the Netflix series, Harry's book. I could go on, couldn't I? But in terms of your peace offerings, I don't think we're there yet. I mean, you look at Harry has been in the UK several times over the last 14 months and hasn't even seen his father. I mean, that is absolutely extraordinary. He was here for his recent court case just a couple of weeks ago against the British government to do with his security and still didn't get to see the King. So I'm not sure a hamper full of jam and biscuits and crepes will smooth over relations just at this point.
No, I think it probably needs a little bit more. But you did mention Harry's book, and another big claim in the media this week is that Harry's considering a sequel to his memoir, Spare, focusing on his legal battle for security and having a crack at the royal family for not helping him. Is there anything in this?
Well, I certainly understand that he, isn't happy that his father hasn't got involved. Of course, it's an absolutely extraordinary situation that Harry is taking to court His Majesty's government. I mean, the government that's under his father's name. It's a truly extraordinary set of events. However, whether Harry wins this appeal remains to be seen. I imagine we'll find out in the next few weeks. But he's not letting up, and he said himself that he had enough material for 2 books when he was writing Spare. So it is always this sort of sword of Damocles hanging over the royal family and the palaces. Will he sort of put pen to paper again? The first book was widely received. It was a bestseller. And Harry and Meghan still do need to earn a lot of money. So if he has that in his back pocket, I think it's still something that he could use in the future. Or does he value greater relations with his family? If his father, is still continuing cancer treatment and he's still falling out with his brother, it does seem a bit of a shame sometimes that they've let all this time go without repairing stuff.
Indeed. And still on the security front, although in slightly a different vein, we understand there are new flight restrictions over Sandringham. What's the story here?
Well, this is very interesting because it came on the back of President Zelensky of Ukraine's visit to the King at Sandringham, his country estate in Norfolk, and there was some drones flying overhead. And you would assume that royal palaces or royal residences would have these no-flight zones, but Sandringham definitely didn't. So in order to stop that from happening in the past, there has essentially been a no-fly zone put into place. It was requested just a few days after President Zelensky visited the King last month. It came into force on March the 10th. So it will be essentially no planes, no drones, nobody flying any light aircraft over the palaces as a security issue. And you can imagine why that has been put in place.
Absolutely, and very timely. Russell Myers, thank you so much.